Hello and welcome to episode 146 of Nugget's Dungeon Terrain. In this episode, we're going back to a fantasy setting, and just like episodes 142, 143, and 144, I'll be covering a whole set of terrain in one show. This time I'll be creating ice caves. I'll be creating some more of these low profile 1cm high tiles with 1cm high walls. I'm trying to make this one super fast, and I'm also trying to use up some scraps, which is why I'm tracing around some of these offcuts, so that I can cut off the wall sections separately. Once I've got the wall shape, I'm going to take big chunky cuts out of the foam wall on different angles. This will give the effect of being made out of ice later on. Once the walls have been chipped away, they're placed on using some Yoo-hoo glue. The ones that don't quite want to sit, I pin. The ground is all made of ice, so it's fairly smooth, but of course there are going to be some irregular chunks taken out of it and some different angles, so I take the flatter pieces of rock that I have and press them firmly without moving them around too much. I'm only using 4 paints on all of these pieces. The first is this Island Breeze Blue. This is going to work much better as a base coat, because black would be too dark for a final light ice white colour. Once that blue was super dry, I moved on to white. This is a really cheap white acrylic. I also decided to paint the exterior walls with the white, all the way down, to make it look like everything was solid ice. I got better at this technique by the time I got to the 10th tile, but what I eventually decided to do was paint all of the white on a 45-degree angle to the piece. This, in combination with the other paints that I'll add later, added more of a shimmering ice effect. You'll see here that as I apply the white, I'm flicking it across without pressing into any of the gaps, making sure that that icy blue still is in the deepest areas. Here you can see by the time I've applied the second coat that I've worked out that I'm going to do that 45-degree angle, and the extra layers adding a little bit of extra texture. It kind of makes it look like the ice is frozen on different layers, and the deeper you go, the harder and older the ice is. The final 2 layers of paint were a pearlizing medium and glitter paint. I started off with this clear glitter paint, but I ended up moving to one with a blue shimmer. And here's the pearlizing medium. Normally you're supposed to mix it with other paints, but I'm applying it straight on to give it an icy shimmer. You can't really see the paint in the video and when it first is applied, but hopefully we'll be able to pick it up a bit more when you see some of the final pictures. Here I'm creating a deep hole in the ice. This has been formed where a geothermal area is fighting against the cold of the ice and has made a hot pool. In the game, this is an area where the players can stop and heal. Once I've pressed down as hard as I can with the rock, I take out this round sculpting tool and continue to press down into the foam. After I've given the tile its base coat, I have a look on the bottom and see some of the paint has leaked through. So I put some tape there before I add the water. I then fill up the water area with this Elmer's clear washable glue. I then use this toothpick to move the glue into all of the corner spaces and to level it out. Where the waterline is, I carefully paint around with some white to make sure that the ice runs all the way down to where the warm water is changing the depth and colour. Here I'm making a large objective room. It's going to have a snowdrift, and at the end it's going to have a large ice crystal formation. Here you can see I've cut out the 2 cm thick piece and then halved it. Then using a wire cutter, I've gone around and cut out the wall. Because it's too long and fiddly, I'm not going to use the Proxon to cut out the chunks in this wall. I'm going to use this hand burner instead. In the middle of the large section there's going to be a raised area. On top of this will be the ice crystals. I'm going to use magnets to hold the two pieces together, but here I'm just making sure that a standard miniature will be able to fit around all sides of the piece before I glue it down. Here I'm just melting out the area that the round magnet is going to go into. And here are the large ice crystals. They're just jagged pieces of foam stuck onto a washer. Here I'm making a corner piece that has a ledge on one side. When I used 4 cm high walls, making ledges was more obvious and noticeable, but now that I can't build higher than the 1 cm high wall, I have to add a ½ cm ledge. Some of the tiles will have snowdrifts. I'm using a pool of PVA glue, and over the top I'm using baking soda. Here I'm using the same technique to cover up some of the cracks in the joins between the pieces of foam. So, thanks for watching, and thank you for all the recent comments and support that I've received. I'll catch you soon.